Hey friends, it's Nitya, dropping in to say hello and to share with you the flying stars for March 2023. I am excited about this time in our year because I wanted to say let's first pause in this now moment and just take a hand to the heart, close eyes, inhale a deep breath. Full breath, slowly exhale, and still keeping your eyes closed, take a moment and really start to process February. For me, it felt like a really long month, and yet it's a short month. It's only 27 days, 28 days, yeah. So as you have this beautiful hand on your beautiful heart and your eyes are closed and you're starting to wind yourself through February, what happened in February for you? What people popped up? What happened in your relationships? What happened with your work? What happened with your dreams? What was your mood? What was going on? And see if you can discern and kind of let bubble to the surface your biggest takeaways. Because this is, I often say life is this big lesson and we're constantly learning and growing and evolving in our human existence. And when we look at the journey of a year, we can then say maybe that we better understand ourselves. We better understand our work and how we work with that job. Maybe we better understand our boundaries, what we're willing to tolerate. And we look at all of these aspects and see where it takes you. You might want to sit down with a journal and really deep dive. Where have I been? And then you turn to March 5th. We're going in, and here we go. And I've been talking about this. This is going to be wild. And I know that a lot of Western astrologers have been saying that March is going to be a game changer. So let's look at this side, which is our Eastern side, to see what's going on. So for the month of March, remember there's the 12 Chinese animals. They each represent a month. They each represent a block of 2 hours. They cycle through their years. And this is our big rabbit month in a rabbit year. And I am a big fan of journaling. I journal just about every day. It helps me to process what I'm feeling and what I'm going through. I share with my journal things that I wouldn't even share with a best friend. Sometimes I read it out loud because it helps me to better understand myself, especially if I'm struggling with a relationship or some aspect of my job. Maybe I'm just feeling really stuck. Maybe I need to yell out loud. Maybe I need to cry out loud. But those are kind of things that I feel like are safer done alone than dumping all over somebody else, So as you go through the month of March, take note, maybe at the end of each week, what happened? All the big things in your life. What things are the most important? Maybe it's your children. Maybe it's your job. Maybe it's your marriage. Maybe it's your health. So if this is all just so intriguing, you want to learn more, Stick with us. We're on a ride of forming this fabulous community of people that love things that are about Feng Shui and Chinese astrology. So subscribe, like, and follow. And feel free to share this with a friend. If you're interested in your own Bazi Chinese astrology reading, go to knityaliving.com. Order yours today. And I just want to say that your Bazi reading comes as a Word doc or a PDF doc, and it's really very involved. There's a lot of information that I give you. This isn't just some fortune cookie paragraph. You get a lot of information, and then you have the opportunity to sit with me for a 30-minute Zoom Q&A or a FaceTime Q&A to kind of address your questions and see if there's anything that you didn't quite understand. All right, so Marchity March, we're all diving down the rabbit hole into your own personal burrow. And again, if you don't know what your year ahead is about because you don't have your Bazi astrology reading yet, let me know. Happy to help you out with that. All right, so March 2023. There are a lot of poopy spots. You know, it's hard sometimes as we dance the dance of the stars and energy as it moves in and out, just like it moves in and out of our body. Wow. So the center, where we have this beautiful 4-star, and we've added fire to mitigate the fact that the 4-star is a wood element, and it's sitting in the earthy center, is visited by the 7-star. Now, the trick with the 7-star that comes to mind is this is where you have relationships that become violent, and that can be in word and in action. It can also be backstabbing. It can be infidelity. It's not a happy thing. What I'm cautioning everyone that has built a love altar in the center of their home like I have, take the photos down for this month. You can still leave the altar, but I would remove the pictures. And just, always mindfulness, because if you notice your relationship is going sideways, maybe you should take the whole altar down. See what you need to do. My gut says take the photos down. That should be enough. We'll see. So again, in general, the annual flying stars, I have a full blog on Knit Ya Living. This will also be a blog on Knit Ya Living, so you can read the transcript of this, and it's so much easier because sometimes it's a lot of information to take in. So as we're going room by room or direction by direction, you can kind of see what needs to shift and change in your own home. And also recognize that if you have an open concept house, if you have a room that occupies multiple directions, it can get very tricky. And, this is where I can, if you live in the Virginia area, I can come to your house. If you want to do a Zoom Feng Shui consultation, I can do that as well. It's a really great investment in knowing how to stage your home for the best outcome. I mean, who doesn't want that? And even I, as a consultant, check in with professionals to see and ensure myself that everything is aligned as it should be. All right, so when you're looking at the 4-star, again, it's a wood star in the center being mitigated with fire. And that fire is kind of aggravating for the 7-star. So I would check your center and make sure it's not like overdone with color red. And also, like I said, you can keep things in place, but just be mindful of your relationships. And I found a place in writing this to put your photos. All right, so next we come to the north, which I'm saying neutralize this area because the 9-star of future wealth is here, which is fabulous. Now it's a fire star that's clashing with the water of the north, which is your career corner. So we're adding a lot of green and wood element here. It's a great place to put plants, especially plants that bloom purple, like lavender and tulips. I think they usually show up in April or March, and then depending on where you are. But this month, it's visited by the 3-star. And the 3-star is kind of grumpy. You know, the 3-star comes in, it's nourished because that's a wood star, and it's nourished by the watery north. And it's kind of like that thing that shows up that puts a stall, a yellow pause, a speed bump in your way forward. So if you're finding the projects you're working on, the things that you're dreaming about, all of a sudden are hitting a lot of issues and slowing down, take pause. Move with the energy. Don't force it. And as you move with the energy, recognize that if you're coming up against arguments and disharmony with the people you're working with, pull back. Quiet that ego mind, bring yourself down to heart space, take some humbling, deep breaths, and save the conversation for another time. Then we come to the Northeast, another area I'm considering to neutralize, because this is where the 7-star is. The 7-star is the broken soldier, and it's metal, and it's at home in the Northeast. The Northeast is an earth direction that's nourishing the 7-star. This is nourishing the potential for lawsuits, bankruptcy, injury with sharp objects, warfare, gunfire, violence. And this is visited by the 1-star, which is watery, and this brings success. So it's a little bit weird. And so I have said that in general, I would keep this room really dark for this year. But this month, I say open up and bring a little light in. And I don't feel like it's the worst case scenario for this particular month. The next direction is really bad. And let me just say, if your bedroom is in the east, vamonos, get out of there. Do not sleep in that room. Do not use that room for an office. Do not use that as a front door. Do not use this room. This room for this month is so highly toxic. Make sure the blinds are drawn, the door is shut. Nothing should be happening in this room. This is the 2-star of sickness being met with the 5-star of catastrophe. And with that being said, the 2 add up to the number 7. More battling. There's a lot more going on here. This is the home location for all things rabbit. The fact that this is a rabbit month and a rabbit year really emphasizes the power of the Grand Duke that is sitting in the east with Happy Rabbit. And both the 2 and 5-star are earth elements or earth stars in a wood element direction. And there's no way to mitigate it. So what I have suggested for this year is to focus on the innate qualities of the east and focus on healthy plants. Obviously get plants that don't have spines like cactus, and try to find a plant that can tolerate not being in a lot of sunlight, obviously. Now, being in the east, obviously sunlight is going to come in, and that's fine. But you don't want to do anything to agitate, do not do anything like a ceiling fan would be like, oh my God, the worst. And then, so we don't want to have any construction, no loud noises, no digging outside really deep holes, no big loud noises in the yard. And we want to protect this energy to the best of our ability. Yeah. And I would just say, in general, express deep caution. Exercise great caution in the east. And don't drive towards the east. Don't begin your commute driving east, and do not face east. Notice where you're sitting. I'm facing west, in case you're wondering. All right, so lots to be said about the east. Not a happy place. And all the details, again, for the annual stars and their cures is on the Knit Ya Living blog. And all right, next up, an area to depress. We've got the 3-star is at home in the southeast with all of its wood energy. And we've got the 6-star, which is metal, coming in. And if you ask me, it just feels like a battle of wood and metal. And even though the 6-star can be a good thing, I kind of feel like the best thing to do is keep this area calm and quiet. And I would add blue for this month, like a blue dish of candies, a blue rhino statue, a blue vase with flowers, something like that. Just enough to kind of soften all this conflict without doing anything really dramatic. Oh, and you'll also notice on the blog that each of these directions impact specific people. Maybe I'll go back and review that real quick in a minute. All right, so the 8-star of wealth is in the south, and that's visited by the 2-star. Both of these are earth elements. I'm calling this a neutralize for March, and I would say that the greatest caution is if the south is an entrance, a bedroom, or an office, because the 2-star of sickness, we don't want to mess with that. So if it's a bedroom, use a health gourd, a wulu by your bedside. If it's a front door that you can't avoid using, put up a bagua mirror for the month, possibly. I don't even know that I would do that. I would just be really cautious using it as a door. Now, I've got a flaky storm door on the south, so I know that I want to not even use the back door this coming month. It's going to be a little bit tricky. Either that or I just take the storm door off since it's such a problem. And then we can activate the southwest, which is the best room. We've got the 1-star that's a water star, and then we've got the 4-star visiting. And the thing that's great here is that the 1-star brings success and the 4-star is relationships, romantic relationships. And so what I was saying is this is where to bring your photos of you and your love from the center of the house to put them in here. I would also bring in a little bit of blue to this room. And that's going to help soften some of the conflict because, again, the water star 1 and the wood star 4 are in an earthy direction of the southwest. So we want to mitigate some of this. And I think that blue will help with that. All right. So the 6-star is in the west with the 9-star. This is another great area, except the 9-star is fire, the west is metal. So we want to bring in some earth elements here. I was suggesting 9 yellow silk flowers in an earthen vase. Another thing you could do, since the 9-star is future wealth, set an intention for March in that direction of the west. Actually, this is where I'm sitting right now. And I think I'm going to put a Post-it on the window that says exactly what I want to manifest this month coming up. And then finally we get to the northwest, which is the 5-star. It's a really problematic area. And we've also got the earthy 8-star coming in of wealth. I just wouldn't mess with this room at all. So I didn't add anything to correct or adjust for the positive energy coming in. I also want to back up and remind you that the West is in conflict or opposition with the Grand Duke. This is where we not only have the Shui Po, but the 3 killings. And so the West is also an area that we don't want to disturb with loud noise, big renovations. We just want to keep it quiet, but use it, enjoy it, because there's a lot of great energy here for this year. So let's go back. I want to just highlight that the North, the people that are most impacted by the North are rat people. Okay, so if you're born on the day or the year of the rat, you're going to really be impacted by all things happening in the North with the 9 star of future wealth. The Northeast is, let's see, where do I have this? So much information. The Northeast is the dog. When we come around to the East, the people most impacted are the rabbit. Rabbit and, well, I definitely know the rabbit because rabbit is the East for sure. So the South is the snake and the dragon. The South is, I believe, the horse and the snake. The Southwest is the sheep. Happy days. Yeah, so go through, read the blog, so much great information. And, you know, this month we've got the Southwest and the West and kind of the North for our best directions. And there's so many areas that seem to be problematic. And, you know, I've often said that as we move through our house, we're not supposed to be jumping around like kangaroos unless you happen to have a house full of children or a house full of dogs or cats. But, you know, our home is really our sanctuary. I don't know if you can hear the silence when I stop talking, but it is bone quiet in my house. Sometimes I put on nice new age spiritual music, like a little Krishna Das or Snatam Kar or something like that, but I really love the silence. And I love giving my brain a break, my ears a break, to just come into a sanctuary of calm, of quiet, and peace. And I encourage you to make your home that. And if you live with people, if you live in with a lot happening, try and create a little place for yourself where you can escape from the world and have a little place of quiet. And I will add that this is kind of a funny thing. When I have taught teenagers this very thing, I had a kid that made a meditation place under their bed, and I had another kid that made one in their closet because it was the only place they could go to get away from their siblings. And I encourage you to be that creative. Where can you find your sanctuary in your home, your special place? And hopefully your whole home can be that. So this was our March, and I'm excited to check back in with you in 4 weeks to see how this rabbit deep dive is going to be for you. Blessings to all, and be well.